Lens was a game that looked very likely to produce goals. Monégasque, as well as being the league leaders coming into the weekend, were also the top scorers in Ligue 1 REIMS, posting 10 goals from their first 3 games. It didn't take them long to find another one on this match day 4. This will be a trying night for visitors Lens as they fell behind just past the midway point. Enrique with the corner and Wilfried Singo with the header. The home side doubled their lead before the interval as Alexander Golovin galloped unhindered into space on the right side of the box and latched onto a Takumi Minamino pass, firing a first-time shot past Brice Somba. Minamino's good form continues, 3 goals and 3 assists now. So it would be cemented as a 3rd goal arrived just before the hour mark. Guillermo Maripin left unmarked to head in another Caillot corner. Lens beat Monaco to a spot on the podium last season, but this campaign has started out very differently. Monaco top with 10 points and 13 goals. Lens in the drop zone. Without a win this season, and having just sold Bradley Barcola to Paris Saint-Germain, Lyon were under significant pressure when they welcomed the reigning champions to the Groupama. This is also an off-field crisis involving new owner John Textor and former president Jean-Michel Aulas. It was the on-field crisis that quickly became evident here. An early penalty converted by Kylian Mbappe, just about, despite Anthony Lopez getting a touch. It wasn't long before the lead was doubled. Achraf Hakimi making it 2 when Ousmane Dembele's cross, intended for Mbappe, fell kindly for him. He snuck the ball just inside the far post. Having survived a couple of scares, Parisians then pulled further clear when Marco Asensio capped off a fine passing move. The Spaniard becomes the first player to record 3 goals in his first 3 Paris League games since Neymar in 2017. He celebrated that fact by turning provider for Mbappe, who snuck his 2nd in off the post to make it 4-0 on the stroke of half-time. This is the 4th time France's superstar has scored more than 1 goal against OL in a top-flight match. Home side unsurprisingly booed off at half-time, but defender Nicolas Tagliafico did earn his side an opportunity to reduce the arrears after the break. They are intervening, referee agreeing that Warren Zaïre-Emery had denied a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Captain Corentin Tolisso gave away the first penalty, somewhat made amends, giving away the first one by converting the second, but it was too little too late. Champions move up to 2nd. Lyon dropped to the very bottom of the table after the worst ever start to a campaign. The Marseille side yet to lose this season headed north to take on a Nantes side yet to win. The weekend's opening game, much of the pre-match build-up, was dedicated to new loan signing Joaquin Correa, making his debut after arriving from Inter Milan. And the Argentina attacker didn't take long to make an impact, helping to create the opening goal. His shot parried into the path of Ismail Assar, made it 1-0 after just 3 minutes. Assar scoring in back-to-back top-flight European League games for the first time since 2021 with Watford in the Premier League. Another debutant, Nantes 17-year-old Bastien Mopiu, looked to have perhaps made the bigger impact on the game when he was sent off inside the first 10 minutes. But Nantes dug deep and equalised against the odds. Mustafa Mohamed scoring a fine 4th of the season on the turn. Perhaps something opposite to last week for the Canaries, taking a point they perhaps had no right to claim. They had the chance to claim a 2nd successive league victory when they hosted a Reims side looking for a 3rd successive win. Inside still without suspended centre-back Aboubakar Loh. But that's certainly not a problem as they got straight on the attack and took the lead in just the 7th minute. Sheikh Sabali, the man to give Ligue a lift off, rifling a stunning strike into the top corner. That lead would last barely 10 minutes as Reims hit back a stunning strike of their own. Diakite picking up the ball on the edge of the area and drilling a thunderous effort into the top corner of the other net. Maybe even closer to the postage stamp than Sabali's effort. Diakite becomes the 4th Ivorian to score for Reims in the French top flight. They would complete the turnaround 7 minutes into the 2nd half. Good work on the left wing by Mohamed Darami. A nice 1-2, and then Teddy Touma steering a left-footed shot beyond Alexandre Ugija. Still on a high after his man-of-the-match performance against Montpellier a week earlier. Maltese midfielder becoming the perhaps unlikely successor to Flo Balogun as Reims' source of goals. However, this time he was not to be the match winner. Abdi Diallo brought on the Gambian, finding himself with space on the edge of the area, taking a touch and culling another beauty just under the bar. Less than a minute since entering the fray. So the spoil shared. Metz remain in a tightly packed mid-table. Reims remain in 4th. Rennes were looking to get back to the impressive winning ways they displayed during their 5-1 thrashing of Metz on the opening weekend when they made the short trip to Brest for a Breton derby. That big win had been followed by 2 draws with Lens and Le Havre in their previous 2 outings, which had left them behind their opponents on the day. Whichever side you classed as the pre-match favourite, neither would really shine in the late summer sun. The hosts who enjoyed most of the limited chances in a derby lacking in excitement. Jeremy Le Douaron really should have done better with either of the 2 big opportunities, but fluffed his lines on both occasions. Ludovic Blaz's low drilled effort was about as close as Rennes came. The game ended 0-0. 7 points from 4 games. Brest are, though, enjoying a fine start to the season. Rennes 1 point behind. Lille were aiming to return to winning ways when they welcomed Montpellier to the Decathlon Arena. Hosts bounced back from last weekend's heavy defeat by securing a spot in the Europa Conference League group stages during the week. Montpellier, on the other hand, hadn't had the opportunity to soften the blow. Their 3-1 loss to Reims, and they would instead suffer another blow here, falling behind in just the 2nd minute. Yusuf YAZICI whipping a free kick to the far post. Somehow the ball travelling undeflected through a crowd all the way into the net. Montpellier, though, came out a different side in the second half. Moussa Al-Tamari twisting and turning. The impressive Lucas Chevalier producing one of many saves. The Payard did eventually find a way past the keeper. Arnaud Nordin's shot deflected in by Benjamin Andre. However, VAR would have the final say. Kelvin Yeboah judged to be offside, and that would be that. Lille move in to the European spots. Strong started Strasbourg made the trip south to face Nice at the Allianz on Sunday evening. The racing start to this season under the tutelage of Patrick Vieira had been almost the polar opposite to last campaign, as Nice had made an underwhelming, if unbeaten start. The start was not underwhelming here, however, taking the lead in the first half. Yusuf Attal allowed the time and space to cut inside, producing a beautiful curled effort into the far corner. Constant menace with his pace, Terran Moffi had already struck the woodwork in a similar situation when he was released by Jean-Claire Todibo. This time, though, his deft outside of the boot finish into the bottom corner wrapped up the points. 2-0. The result leaves the 2 sides level on 6 points in the top half of the table for now. Nice the higher, 2 courtesy of goal difference. Le Havre were hoping to claim their first win since returning to the top flight when they welcomed Lorient to Stade Océan. Certainly hasn't been a disaster for the newcomers, though, with 2 draws from their first 3. They would go one better here. A fairly quiet first half. The second would go very much their way. Loic Nego and Dela KUZIAEV, both unselfish, and the Russian, the one to put the ball in the back of the net. Great awareness. And in the 70th minute, brilliant feat from young substitute Antoine Juju just outside the Lorient area, and laying the ball up for Nabil ALIOUI, who dutifully found the net for the 3rd time in 2 matches. It's also the second of those to come from outside the box, meaning ALIOUI becomes the first Le Havre player to score 2 from outside the box in a single top-flight campaign since 2008. And it's only match day 4. Another introduction from the dugout put the final touches to the host's impressive win deep into injury time. More excellent work from Juju, and fellow substitute Nolan and MBEMBA with a deflected shot crept in for 3-0. Both now in mid-table, this win moves Le Havre above Lorient on goal difference. Toulouse were looking to bounce back from last weekend's loss to Strasbourg when they welcomed bottom side Clermont to the southwest. Valencia's hugely impressive second season in the top tier is already beginning to feel something of a distant memory after 3 successive losses this campaign. Things didn't look like they were about to get any better after a catastrophic opening 15 minutes. First, a clever free kick, caught out Mehdi Zefan with Zakaria Abouklal firing home impressively from a tight angle in the 8th minute. And then barely 5 minutes later, Frank Magri made no mistake on the counter, finding the top corner beautifully to double the lead. Further demoralised the visitors. But an early brace can often be a double-edged sword. So it was a perfect start for Les Violets. It also left Clermont with a lot of time to turn the game around, and they were given the perfect opportunity to start that turnaround when goalkeeper Guillaume Arestes conceded a penalty, rushing out, not beating Zefan to the ball. Jonquier stepping up, putting his spot kick past the 18-year-old keeper, halving Toulouse's lead, setting up an exciting second half. Twice the woodwork would come to the teenagers' rescue, but finally in the dying seconds, Clermont's luck would turn, persistence paying off, a scramble in the box, eventually the ball poked home by Florent Augier. Head in hand for TFC defence, celebrations on the pitch, and in the away end for Clermont. 95 minutes and 23 seconds, Augier scores Clermont's latest ever goal, rescues a valuable point. 24 goals in all across the 9 games. PSG the only team to win away from home. Monaco and Le Havre making home advantage count. Also 3-goal winning margins. That win for the champions moves them up to 2nd, above rivals Marseille. But still Monaco at the summit, 2 points clear. Brest and Lille have identical records in 5th and 6th. It's a surprising pair propping up the table. 7-time champions Lyon and last year's silver medalists Lens falling below Clermont into the drop zone after heavy defeats. Domestic football returns in 2 weeks' time after the international break, kicking off with Nice's trip to the capital and finishing with a Lyon side desperate to claim their first win against Le Havre.